Hello folks, it's almost cinematic, isn't it? Here from a sniping position on top of the terminal. Welcome to another video, folks. Here in the Microsoft Sim. Just realised that the spoilers are deployed. Not sure we want the spoilers deployed. Anyway, it gives me an excuse to have a look at the animations. Very impressive. If I can just get myself into a different sniping position. There we go, folks. Isn't she beautiful? This is the Nalanji Dreaming livery that once appeared on the 747-400 that was flown by the good folks at Qantas back in the day. All the 400s have, of course, been retired. This is not a 400, this is an 800 here in the Microsoft Sim. And I guess this is a Modders Monday episode of sorts. Looking at a mod known as the Salty 747. And the Salty 747 mod, in turn, has its own mod on top of that I'm flying with today. A sort of a mega pack, it's called. There'll be links to all this in the description, folks. What you should know is that I have very little time in this aeroplane. A handful of hours at best. I flew this aeroplane, the Salty mod, quite a while ago in its early incarnations. Found this aeroplane, whether it was the mod or whether it was just the aeroplane, I don't know. Very heavy on performance, and I just keep getting myself trapped here. Now I'm going into a bit of a drone mode. I could, of course, actually use the drone camera and stuff, but that would require a bit more preparation, folks, and a bit more competency than what I feel I have at this point in the morning. It is early morn in the originating location for this flight. I could have just said the origin or the starting point. That would have been easier on the old brain. But anyway, let me show you where we are and where we are going. Right, little nav map. Folks, we're in Asia. We begin our journey in a place that I'm sure many simmers have flown in and out of a lot. Good challenge, particularly the old airport there at Kai Tak. I speak of Hong Kong. We're flying out of the current airport. What's it called? What's its name? I forget what its name is. Hong Kong Airport. All the runways in the world over there. The old Kai Tak was over here, wasn't it? Honka's great place, or at least it was when I last visited, which is a long time ago. I think it's since become a bit of a, well, the Chinese have got to it. Let me put it that way. The old one country, two systems rubbish that's sprouted by the Chinese government. Anyway, folks, Hong Kong is our origin for today. We're going to fly over the South China Sea, over the island of Hainan, and then northern Vietnam, Laos, Myanmar, and we're going to end up over there in Bangladesh, specifically Dhaka, Bangladesh. What are we doing this flight for? Wow, because we can. It's a bit of a leg stretcher for the 748, 3 hours 21 minutes according to the little nav map. Don't do a great deal of flying in this part of the world, and thought it was absolutely about time that I get back specifically to Hong Kong, and I thought I'd visit my virtual friends over there in Bangladesh. I know things are rough in that part of the world. Well, it's certainly rough down here in Sri Lanka, we know. It always seems to be rough over here, doesn't it? Conditions, climate conditions, political conditions, yeah, all the rest. Don't want this to be a negative video, but that's the flight plan, folks. Hong Kong to Dakar, or Dakar. One of those three would be in the ballpark. That's what we're going to do. Modders Monday episode, the Salty mod, flown by a person who does not know what he's doing. Let's do it. So welcome aboard the flight deck, folks, of the 748, the modded Salty mod. Is that what I'm going to call it? I don't know. Apparently the mod to the mod, the Mega Pack mod, oh, this is going to get confusing even for me. Apparently it improves the cockpit textures I'll have to take their word for it. I don't know. I haven't spent enough time in the base mod or the base aircraft to actually sort of notice much. But it looks pretty good. Looks like a 747-800, doesn't it? It does some other stuff too around flight modelling, etc. Go to the overhead. Looks very nice. Looks pretty well done to my eyes. Jump back downstairs. Look, the rest of the VC, bloody impressive. What can I say? This is not an aircraft review, and perhaps there are issues here that I am not going to notice and that others know about. And if you know of glaring issues with the VC or anything that I overlook, feel free to share those in the comments to this video. So what we've got is the external power connected. We've got our IRSs aligned, which reminds me. Switch those over to nav. Yeah, we've got stuff aligned. We're going to depart off runway 07 right here in Honkers, and then fly a SID. If we just zoom out a little bit, sort of over the city of Hong Kong, and then sort of out over the South China Sea, and then on our way in a roughly westerly direction across to Dhaka. I'll get this thing started, which is probably going to take me about 3 hours. It'll probably take me longer to do the startup procedure for this than the actual flying time, because I seem to get this stuff wrong, or at least I did in the previous attempts to fly this aeroplane. I'll get it started in some form, folks, in some way, out onto a runway 07 right, and then we'll go flying. So there'll be a departure segment, there'll be a cruise segment, and there'll be an approach segment. As per usual, starting to sound a little bit boring, like these videos always follow the same formula. But hey, formulaic gets the job done for an old fella who doesn't have a great deal of skill in providing the cinematic experience that others do. Anyway, folks, let's go flying. Alright, I should have brought a packed lunch for that taxi. Bloody hell, that took a while. Anyway, 4.5 hours later, folks, here we are. 07 right. Ready for takeoff, I think. We've got flaps set. I don't know about our trim. How do you know where you're supposed to set your trim on this beast? It's probably obvious, but I'm missing it. RTO. Flaps are set at 10. Takeoff speeds are in. 136 is our rotate. We're really light. We're only carrying like 45 tonnes of fuel, which sounds like a lot, but for the 748, ain't much at all. Only got a 3-hour flight here. I think we're pretty much right to go. Seatbelts are on. That helps. We've done the LNAV, VNAV thing, arming those. So it's Pauper, 7 miles ahead of us, and then a right turn. We'll get Georgie engaged pretty early. This is a nice view out the front. It's a little weird, though. I mean, it's really high. It's a 748. Everyone's going, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. It's a weird seating position after flying GA birds. You know, there she's beautiful paint job, isn't it? The 7.4s, just a beautiful aeroplane. Right, 07 right, let's do it, folks. There's not a magic button like they have on the PMDG, so I'm just going to set my thrust to that green line. Is that about right? We're derated. Sounds about right. Good enough for me. Airspeed alive. Oh, that is a weird perspective. Here we go, accelerating. Geez, we're not mucking around here. We're going to get to rotate pretty smartly. We'll see if we've got our trim set right. Proof is in the pudding here, pal. Thanks, mate. I'll rotate about there. Oh, she wants to fly, and she wants to drift off to the right. What's happening? Oh, she's heavy. Positive rate gear up. That's altogether weird. That's just got a little bit confused there. Not with what I needed to do, but it felt strange. The visuals and the feeling in the stick, as they say, was all quite weird. She climbs well. Just doesn't feel like it. I don't know. There's something weird about it. Not a complaint against the aeroplane, just total unfamiliarity with with the beast. What I'll do is, if I go into Command L at the moment, let Georgie do some flying here. So why is our speed set to 167? If I go flight level change, yeah, 250. It's kind of where we want to end up, isn't it? Let's pitch down. Heading select around there. We're in LNAV thrust mode. Make sure all those flaps are up. Okay. Gear up, flaps up, and all that jazz. Accelerating towards 250. We probably went a little early on the full flap up, right? Here we go. Here's the turn. I want to go outside and have a look. There's honkers. Gorgeous. Oh, that's lovely. Now, I've got a sound pack installed, I think, for this aeroplane. I don't know whether I've done it right. I can't tell the difference. Apologies to the sound pack author. You do some fantastic work. There'll be a link to it in the description. The FT Sim Plus stuff. I just don't haven't flown the original beast enough to, and my ears are not healthy enough to actually pick up the differences. Yeah, that's beautiful. Honkers, if you currently do reside in Hong Kong, or you've just got some memories you like to share of honkers, feel free to add them in the comments, folks. I've got very pleasant memories of the time I spent there. That is just a beautiful sight, isn't it? Look at that. A Qantas 7-4 in the air over honkers. Good times. Folks, I'll see you for the cruise portion of the flight. Alright, so settled in the cruise, high over the South China Sea, folks. Flight level 400. Just thought I'd point this out, something that I've noticed. If you stare at these throttles for long enough, you'll see them jump. You should see them jump as the auto throttle kind of chases itself, I suppose. Now it's settled down. There it is. See that big jump? There it goes again. I wasn't going crazy. Well, I am. I'm already there, but for other reasons. Yeah. Is that supposed to happen? Well, it's not supposed to happen, but does it happen on your installation of this mod? Maybe I've got too much mod. You can have too many mods, I think. Anyway, the auto throttle thing, folks, just pointing that out for reference. Apart from that, the climb up to flight level 400 was good, was smooth. Gets along all right, this aeroplane, and just looks the business. Absolutely beautiful. Might spend some time outside. We've got 3 hours worth of flying to do. It's about this time when I say that to myself and to you, the good viewers, that I realise I just said 3 hours, and I don't have 3 hours. But anyway, I'll see you for the next segment, folks. Hello again, folks. We are roughly just past the halfway point of no return, you might say. We just entered Myanmar airspace. We're about an hour and 15 minutes away from touchdown in Dhaka. So how are things going? I'm guessing you're asking me that rather than me asking you, because that'd be a little bit weird, although you can tell me how you're going if you want in the comments. But really, it was a rhetorical question aimed at myself. How are things going with this flight? And generally, things are going pretty well. Pretty well. The only thing that's kind of bugged me a little bit, and it's a minor inconvenience, let me jump back inside, is we're getting some deviation. We're getting that porpoising effect, trying to maintain an altitude, being flight level 400 on this journey. And we're getting quite a significant sort of variation or movement in the auto throttle as well. I mean, it's quite smooth, that animation at the moment, but it has been jumping around like that. Look, I haven't flown this aeroplane very much. I'm sure I've mentioned that once or twice in this video, so I don't know. I don't have much of a reference. But yeah, look, it's kind of It's slightly annoying, I suppose you might say. It doesn't really detract from enjoyment of the flight, but you can see there's just this subtle sort of porpoising and the auto throttle chasing itself, revving up, and then it'll drop back to sort of it'll drop 5% on the N1, and then I'll have to pick up that 5% that it just dropped, and you can see it moving around now. And I'm guessing that some variation, some movement is perfectly normal, but it seems to be a little out of whack here in the mod. That's my feedback on this flight. I can't say too much more about what the mod actually does. There'll be a link to it in the description. And what the base Salty mod does. I know they've invested a lot of work, and the team that are looking after that continue to improve it. I'm using the dev version of the Salty mod, whatever version that happens to be when this video is made in August of 2022. The dev version that you can get via the fly-by-wire installer is what I'm talking about. And then overlaid on top of that, I have this Salty Mega Pack mod. I don't know if those two things do work seamlessly together. I really don't. If I was to think about flying this aeroplane more in future, I might kind of spend a little bit more time understanding exactly what each of the respective mods do, and investing the time to get that understanding. But the chances of me flying this aeroplane on a regular basis is pretty limited, just because I'm just not a long haul sort of a bloke. Even though, look, relatively speaking, 3 hours and 3.5 hours on this flight is not exactly long haul for a 748, is it? But yeah, I think I'll probably put this one back in the hangar, not because the mod isn't good, just because it doesn't really fit in my rotation. I'll make myself sound so important. I have a rotation. But yeah, anyway, we're in the cruise, folks. We're about an hour and 5 minutes away from... Actually, I can be absolutely positive about how far away we are. So we're forecasting Dakar at 1:33 Zulu. Yeah, so that puts us around about an hour and 15 minutes from touchdown. We're going to fly an ILS. That's the plan, because the conditions at Dakar Airport are IFR at present. So we've plugged in an ILS. See how we go. Runway 14, I think, is the plan. There is the plan. Top of descent is showing. Yeah. Anyway, folks, I'll join you for the latter stages of the approach into our destination. So what was I saying about everything going pretty well? I don't know what's happened here, folks. We've got an airspeed low warning. Our indicated airspeed has dropped well below our target. We're down to Mach 0.55. We've got a deck angle that looks like that. I'm not entirely sure what's happening here. Our throttles seem to be working. Why is our speed brake deployed? I definitely did not do that. Our speed brakes are now retracted. We're pitching up once again. Our airspeed is building. Why? So what happened there? We've got a ghost pilot. The ghost of Jude has leant over and deployed the speed brake. I absolutely did not touch the speed brake. There was no indication here that the speed brake... So if I manually change the speed brake, manually deploy it like that, it doesn't actually enunciate. And put it back. Speed brake armed. Oh, it doesn't enunciate when it's armed. Well, I don't want it armed. Just put it back. Is it back? Is it in? Holy crap. Now, I'm happy to accept user error as the cause of these things, but I cannot explain that as user error. We have lost a whole bunch of altitude in the process. We might just dial that back and stay at 36 or something for the duration of the flight. 36,000. Let's see if we will. I'm sure that we'll get back up to our speed of Mach 0.85. Weird one, folks. One of life's mysteries, that. Anyway, I hope to see you for an approach into Dhaka. Alright, welcome to the concluding stages of the flight, folks. About 7 miles to run, 7.5 miles to touchdown. Runway 14, we're flying the ILS here into Dhaka, Bangladesh. It has been one hell of an interesting approach. We've taken the scenic route. VNAV. Work in progress, perhaps. Approach mode doesn't work either, hence we are flying a manual ILS and doing it quite badly. That would be the outer marker, I'm guessing. Cloudy, hazy, IFR sort of a day here in Dhaka. Slightly below the glide, pretty much on the localizer. VREF of about 143, I think. We've got gear down, we can take flaps. 25, looks like we've got some rain on the shield. We're getting low now at rate of descent. A little too high. As we might get visual quite late here. Yeah, we're definitely quite low on that glide. We need to do something about that. A little bit more juice, pal. A little bit right of the localizer. Definitely low on the glide. Really low now on the glide. We shall arrest that. There's a bit of juice and pitching up. Okay, now we're re-intercepting the path. Quite disconcerting. Unfamiliar aeroplane. Manual ILS. Not exactly becoming visual early in the approach here. Now we're getting high on the glide. We'll take flaps 30. That's full flaps here. And the 748. Get back on that glide. We are chasing it a little bit, which is always dangerous. We're going to get visual very late here. How not to fly the 748, folks. My apologies to all the purists out there. 500. And we're getting low on that glide. We dived for it. Runway in sight. We're visual. Boy, oh boy. Barely visual. Holy moly. Okay, we're right on VREF. We're a little bit slow. Holy crap. Look at this. Talk about a challenge. We're getting high. Runway 14. Dhaka, Bangladesh. Very difficult to judge the flare here, and I think I've done a particularly bad job of it. We're still floating it out. We're going to get it on the runway at some point. I think we are. We're on, well, almost on the center line as well. Folks, that was a terrible approach. Absolutely abysmal. Too much of a challenge for the old fella. Anyway, we'll get off here on the left-hand side. Folks, thanks for your company in another video. This has been a Modders Monday episode featuring the Salty 747 mod with mod on top of that. The Salty 747 Mega Pack mod. It's a modfest is what it is, folks. And look, the purpose of these videos is not, they're certainly not reviews of any sort. They're not tutorials either. It's really just my way of showing appreciation to our fantastic modding community. I haven't done this mod or mods justice, I'm quite sure of that. But I do thank the various modders for their effort on behalf of the community. Folks, I hope wherever you are that you are well and that you're enjoying your simming as I go off the runway. That's only appropriate. In fact, let's plan it right here, folks. We're going off-road. We're taking a shortcut. It's a sim. Who cares? It's been 3 or more than 3.5 hours. It's time for me to put the tools away. Thanks for your company, folks, and we'll see you next time.